special guest. I'll reach near.
I'm good. I'm good. Interesting weekend, but I mean, it's always fun, right? Um, honestly, I don't know. It kind of came out of left field. I was getting the heads up that he was coming on and he possibly might mention my name. And I was like, well, what the hell did I do? Like, just kind of caught off guard. And I was driving to a Mother's Day brunch at that point, and it was going to take like 30 minutes anyway. So I was like, all right, well, let me just listen. And of course, if he wasn't going to say anything about me, I wasn't going to come up and defend my name at all. But the way that he said my name was very disrespectful. Um, he came at me and was basically saying, like, I'm not a doctor. Like, I don't remember ever saying that I had a PhD, um, and all these other things. And one of the things he said when I wasn't there yet was he painted this misleading narrative of like, oh, hey, like someone, like, you know what? Nonito, I woke up one morning, Nonito called me. I thought he was going to talk about his wife. Like, just highly disrespectful. You know what I mean? And for us, like, if we were picking a side in this game, 100% I would have told everybody a week and a half ago that Henry had messaged Nonito on Instagram, and he was actually in the spam box because Nonito and Henry have never talked, never like in person, never said hi, nothing like that. So we have no personal contact with him at all. So we called him after he dropped, like, he said that he wanted us to talk to him about Victor and VADA. We're like, okay. And then and I felt bad for him, man. Like, dude's like reaching everywhere. So I was like, just talk to him. Like, you know how it is to be a father. So Nonito called him. I didn't think he was gonna try to use that to almost elevate him, right? And give a half truth. Like, Nonito called you. First of all, he would never call you about me. You're not one of his close friends or family that he would confide in. Like, it's sideways. Um, but yeah, like, I don't know. Like, I kept asking Henry, I'm like, what did I say I sounded like a doctor? If you're saying I sounded like a doctor based on how I speak and the evidence that I provided and the recordings of Nonito, I don't know what to tell you. But at no point did I ever say this is what this Osterine does or 19 nano. Um, he couldn't point it out. He really couldn't like say like definitively like this is what you said. And I just thought it was really awkward and weird. I mean, I felt for him. I think it's just a dad that's trying to make some spaghetti stick against a wall.
had an issue, he cussed you out. And
I mean, that was pretty much about it. Like, he contacted Nonito based on from what I understand, him and his wife did research and realized that Nonito was a snack fighter a decade and a half ago. And maybe he assumed that something nefarious what happened between the relationship, and that's why him and Victor broke up. And full disclaimer, Nonito hasn't talked to Victor for since that long. Since they broke up, they haven't talked. So there really isn't any more of a relationship to present day as far as like constant communication or anything like that. So I feel like he was like fishing. Like let me throw something in and see what's there. And hope that maybe we had something to say that's why we left. You know what I mean? Because we pretty much were the ones that left, and no one else has. It went down into other discussions as far as, Nonito told him the chain of custody. He's like, dude, like, if you're trying to go against VADA, you're going to have to go against Claridium, you're going to have to go against WADA. Nonito gave him the information. He's like, wait, what's Claridium? And Nonito's like, I'm assuming you guys use the third party testing. That's the people who gave you the paperwork that you had to sign off on when they showed up. Nonito texted him on DM after, like, this is how it's spelled. And eventually just gave him, like, listen, if it's supplements, you're going to have to list all your supplements. Where did you get it from? Who did you get it from? When did you take it? Like, all these things. She's like, these are the things you guys are going to have to fight for. And Nonito told him straight out, he was like, I don't like this. He was like, I stand for clean drug testing. Of course, Henry said that, like, my son's clean, my son's clean. And he was like, I understand, but I mean, this is what I fight for. This, like, he just kept trying. Nonito was just basically saying his stance is like, it should be like, there's nothing in your system, you know, and I'll tell you what you have to do. You have to look at the supplements that he was taking and who gave it to him, and when he gave it to them, who came into your life all of a sudden, you know, that possibly could have an impact on his test or the supplements he was giving. Thing is like, Henry said something that was very telling. In the beginning, the one that you guys didn't see, the part you guys didn't see, he had said that, you should be able to go to CVS and they should be able to know what's in the drug, the supplements. And I'm like, you want someone who's cleaning the bathroom at CVS and just so happens to check you out for $7.25 an hour to know what you're supposed to have. Like, there was no onus, there was no accountability. You want to put it on someone else. You can hire really top-notch doctors and nutritionists that could tell you if you give them the paperwork and you're like, this is what it is, that I can and can't take, but it's still eventually on you.
How VADA testing works, because if I'm not mistaken, wasn't Nonito one?
Yeah, he was the very first one as far as a boxer to enroll in the 24/7 365. And from that time they have from there all the way to when Nonito fought Inoue, which I just so happen to have the footage. So on our YouTube channel, Beyond the Ring, it says hands off my VADA sample. And it shows the collection process and who is responsible. Well, between that and chain of custody. So I did another YouTube video that was chain of custody, and it had all the paperwork that was behind it. For example, I showed one that was VADA was a testing authority. So basically, like, they're your doctor that orders the test. They call the lab and they're like, hey, I need this done. The lab has their technicians. Their lab has their technicians to take the blood. Sorry, my dog. and then they also then they send it off, right, to an actual laboratory. So between those, the only other person from that um, from you taking your sample and doing everything yourself, literally pouring the cup, sealing it, putting it in the bag, sealing the bag, putting it in the box, sealing the box, putting it in the FedEx, sealing the FedEx. For someone to tamper between that and the lab is extremely difficult because the bottle, the bag, the box, and the ticket number that you have are all the exact same control numbers. You would have to break all those three seals. Give me 2 seconds. Okay, sorry. Um, as far as from like, did I don't know, did Ryan not wash his hands? Did he touch something that could have contaminated? Because he literally is the only one that's peeing and then taking that container, putting it into sample A and B and sealing it, putting in the bags, and then box, and then other box, right? They put it in the FedEx container, and the only other person that would open it from there is WADA when it's at the lab in Utah. So unless they didn't clean their instruments, that would be the only thing. Correct. Yeah. Okay, so you're talking about his what he posted on Twitter as far as like jurisdiction and okay. So because your audio is going in and out, so I'm getting pieces, but I think I know what you're saying. Um so as far as that goes, the only other thing that I can point to, and again, commissions across the board are all different, right? All states are different, all countries are different, and you have to know the rules. But when it came to, I believe it was Manny Pacquiao versus Keith Thurman, VADA was hired by Nevada State Athletic Commission to administer their tests. So New York possibly might have had the same thing as how Nevada, because I think what people are misunderstanding is Nevada state well, any of these commissions don't have just people standing around that can take blood and urine and do and run an analysis and have a complete lab. Like the thing is that those labs are highly, 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 highly expensive. Um, and we're talking about not just like, oh well, um is your diabetic level or your blood sugar level like off. We're talking about like panels for prohibited substances, and then in addition to that, secondary testing when it has to be when you're trying to determine between a synthetic or a naturally made hormone. So not every, like, think about it, guys, not every state's going to have that type of technology to do so. That's why there are commissions that do send their sample all the way to WADA, the WADA accredited lab, which is owned by the International Olympic Committee, and that one is called Smrtl, SMRTL, and it's in Utah. In the United States, we only have one. No, wait, sorry, two. One that's I think near UCLA and the one that's in Utah. For all the entire athletes in our country, and I'm not talking about just boxers, it's not dedicated to boxers. We're in Olympic year, which means all the Olympic athletes in our country in every sport and their possible B team and C team are all getting tested for the Olympics this year. So all of that goes there. So I say that to say this: if New York did what Nevada did for Pacquiao versus Thurman, where they hired VADA to oversee the testing for that fight, and then that's how then that would explain how New York is doing it. But I do not know if they actually contracted VADA or not. I mean, I don't see that paperwork, right? But there is a precedent in another state.
Did you versus A samples? You know, and and will it?
Okay. So the A and B sample, and I'll send you a text off of the one that Nonito did. Basically, you pee. First of all, you there's four boxes, and your collection cup, the one you pee in, there's four boxes that are sealed. You take that, you pick randomly one of them, and then you open up the seal of the lid and the cup. So those are sealed within the sealed box of the randomly boxes that are put out on the table. And then you pee in it, put on the lid, and then there's a spout. So from that spout, you again do another five boxes that are all sealed, and you unseal the bottles, and you open it up, put it on the table. From that, your first part of the stream, your collection is going to go into the A sample. They like the minimum that they need in the A sample goes to a certain line. After that line, the rest of it will go into the B sample to try to fill up the B sample to a certain line. Any overflow will just go back into the A sample. You lock that up, click, 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 click. It gives you an availability, like I said. If WADA's lab didn't clean their instruments enough and there was trace contaminants from another sample, and that's why he tested positive, it gives them another avenue to say, I need you to retest it, because they already used all of the A sample. So the problem, because you can't reuse the A sample, it's gone. The whole point of using an A and B sample from the same stream is that it was taken the same day from the same collection, the same stream, your same piss, just the first one, that's it, split into two. It's your insurance policy that if there was any human error, that you would be able to retest it, like parallel to to the same date and time. And they're going to have to do that twice because there was the 19th and the 20th. Now, as far as why the delay, there are certain entities that are going to that have the ability to go to this, to witness the B sample being tested. Of course, that's Ryan Garcia's camp. That's NYSAC, New York State Athletic Commission. There's VADA, and then there's Golden Boy representatives. From what I heard, Haney's camp is asking for a petition to be there as well. I don't know if it was granted or not. I'm not sure. But oh, I said the WBC, right? So the WBC also gets a representative there. So all these people have to, from all parts of the world, have to be able to say, hey, on this date, we want to be able to, see the test. Well, sorry, New York can't make it that day. We need to move it to the next day. Hey, sorry, I can't move it that day. How about this day? And so just the logistics of getting everybody's representative in one spot where there's an available spot for WADA to test it real time in front of all the representatives is why it's taking so long. To be honest, I don't know of any precedents that the B sample at this point has been ever different from the A sample. Um, so I wouldn't even know what to base that on. And I'm going to assume that when they're testing um, two different samples, that they're using it on a different like instrument, testing instrument. They're going to look at the people who were testing it, and who were the clinicians that were going through the testing, and if there are two different people, they're going to have to see why, and then they're also going to have to look at their what is it called, their protocols, and how in the world would that happen. So I wouldn't be able to say like what would happen if it was both two A samples were positive and now both two B samples are negative. I mean the precedence on that is hasn't ever been established.
You know, he's been doing this erratic stuff.
Well, I mean, I think it's actually smart of him because I think that when you hire a lawyer, hire a lawyer for a reason. Um, Anything that he says on social media can and will be used against him when it comes to trying to establish the credibility and what you've said. And I think that when it comes to Mrs. Garcia and Henry Garcia, even at that, if they say like, well, your mom mentioned that you had a doctor that prescribed you supplements. What supplements were there? Now the doctor that we didn't know about, I didn't know of a doctor, is it will get subpoenaed. um Someone else said something about a strength and conditioning coach that was the weight cut coach. And Scooter had come out, I think yesterday, and he was like, dude, like all I did was 11th hour cutting coach, like you know nothing nefarious there. But it's when it comes to like establishing like your credibility, it starts to get really murky when it comes to lawsuits, or court of law, because they're going to ask you. So someone asked me in the chats yesterday. They're like, how are you not going to believe Ryan? He's this, he's this, he's that. So I'm like, am I supposed to believe Ryan 100% of the time? And he was like, well, why wouldn't you? And I'm like, so I 100% I'm supposed to believe him. He's like, yes. I was like, so Satan took over his Twitter. Well, no, he was trolling. So you want me to have to decipher which one he's trolling or not? Like, do you see what I'm saying? Like, when it comes to credibility, and if we're supposed to believe you, I think that it honestly is better for Ryan to be talking about everything else, because I would like to say that most lawyers do not want you to be on social media saying anything about the case that's still ongoing.
And I don't know how to pronounce it. It got so many people then.
Austrian. Austrian. Down? Hello? You're kind of breaking up again.
No, I just wanted to ask you what is
Okay. Okay. So I think you said what is the lowest amount of Austrian you can have in your system? Again, that's going to go back
yeah.
to the commission. Each commission has different rules, different thresholds. Um, I'm hearing that Nevada allows a trace amount. I believe New York also does, but I'm not quite sure now. Like people are making me think twice because when I download the New York State Athletic Commission, it says right there, what the amount levels are. And from what I saw on the website and downloaded as far as their latest updated prohibited substances, it said that the threshold, um, anything abnormal is after point 0.1. So 10 cents is what I like to compare it to. It's 10 cents. Allegedly, he came back with $6 if you look get it that right. I like to do it like layman's terms. I feel like if I go point 0.1 and I say 6, people go all crazy. Okay, 10 cents is the threshold, $6. Does that make sense?
Okay.
You can tell I homeschool my kids because I try to make it very kindergarten. From what I understand, some of these states have a level of trace contaminant. Like basically, like if your supplement was contaminated, there would be no reason for it to be anything higher than this. So that was New York's thing, and that's what we're going off of at this point.
Just well, they're just making up shit. So I has enough knowledge to educate the people.
Yeah. No, and I feel like it's funny because people have told me they're like, you better be wearing a vest, out in these YouTube streets because
Oh,
I'm like, dude, their little BB guns don't mean anything. Um, I've got left and right people. There's other content creators that are coming at me left and right. I'm like, okay. And so, like, listen, like at the end of the day, I love how you said that you haven't seen about a test because none of these content creators are going to actually admit that 99.9% of them talking about VADA testing has any clue. And so when I post something that you can't argue with, the actual videos and the paperwork behind the testing agencies, then they're stuck. And now I'm not trying to go against their narrative, I'm trying to go against falsehoods. But because it's going against their narratives, shots are getting fired. And I just think I'm like, well, okay, all right. Dang, and there's still BB guns. Yeah, yeah. Do you want me to read it to you? Yeah.
Guys got between 5 and 10 minutes.
Okay. So I don't see any questions yet, but I did want to tell you since, I'm actually originally from the Bay. We'll just talk random stuff until I see a question. Um, I grew up in San Mateo. Nonito was in San Leandro when we met. Come here. I'm waiting for questions.
Why?
Because this is my youngest. He's going to bed.
He stays up until the
Okay, go to bed.
I believe.
I'll go say goodnight to your room in a bit.
Night.
Good night, baby. All right, see you in a bit. I'm not seeing any questions, Townsend. I don't know if they're. I don't know if they're shy. He said, "Did you go to Sarah?" Sarah is. I mean, if okay. Now I don't know which one you're talking about. Sarah High School Catholic School is an all boys school. So no, I went to Notre Dame Belmont. But if you're talking about Sarah Monty, no, I also didn't. I went to Notre Dame Belmont, um, which is right next to San Mateo. Do you know which levels of ostrine are consistent with supplement contamination? There's a range of that I've seen. So it's just highly dependent on the manufacturer as far as contamination um, from manufacturing. And then there's also the ones that WADA, VADA, um, and even New York State Athletic Commission. They say that there is osterine. It's not even a trace contaminant, and it's not listed on the label because they're trying to sell you a product without telling you that there's something that's in there to show that it's working, but they don't tell you that that product's listed. I mean that ingredients listed. So on USADA, WADA, and all of them, they tell you not to take supplements. They actually don't want you to. USADA is the only one that I've seen that actually has a database to, like, if you wanted to look up stuff and see if there's anything that is banned or has been hit. And USADA suggests, I think, NSF, I think, or NFS is supposedly the only supplement company that USADA is like, this one's pretty, like, closest to um, not being sorry, dogs. Quiet. Close to being as clean as possible. So they feel like clean as possible is 100% not taking any supplements on the range. And there's this one brand that they're saying is at least they feel like it's the safest if you're going to use anything. Do you think Ryan is guilty? I don't want Ryan, based on the test results, Ryan's test came back positive. That's it. Um, so I know I've read about definitely does take at a 6 to 8 double digit doses to even benefit. Isn't there a list of supplements to avoid? Yes, there are a list of supplements, but because of the fact that there's so many supplement manufacturers that come out every day, um, you know these these agencies can't keep them on the list fast enough. As soon as they pop up, it takes a while for it to be on their list because they have to get it tested and all these things to say like why they shouldn't be taking it. But it's like the amount of companies that are coming up with supplements and for these agencies to be testing everything in the entire world is a little far fetched. So that's why they say don't take any supplements if you can. Like if you don't have a health condition, they're like, don't take any supplements. Like they want you to be so natural. And if you need a supplement, There is something called a therapeutic use exemption. Um, and you'd have to get it cleared. You have to have a doctor. Your physician has to write all this whole little, thing and your patient history as to this was a pre-existing condition and you do need to take it. But I mean, even at that, usually they don't allow you to take therapeutic use exemption stuff during the competition. So like you can't take it, fight night or something. Please clarify
Okay.
for me. EB said, hello, Rachel. Please clarify for me if the B sample is being tested on the 22nd or will the results return then? Not sure if it's been answered already. The B sample will be tested in front of, I believe, about 5 witnesses from each organization that was involved, and they will test it real time. So they'll be able to watch the lab technician going through this whole thing. They'll be able to see like the clicking of the breaking of the seal of the B sample. But just mind you, it's 2 they have to do, right? It's not just 1. So I think this is going to be a very long day for these people. They have to test 2 B samples and do the whole process. Watch them very meticulously, like really like be like, well, did they do enough? Did she scratch her head and then touch the sample? Like those, every single thing is going to be microscoped that day. You can't touch your face with your sterile gloves. Otherwise, one of them is going to say, hey, like that's a violation. He's not supposed to be doing that. So, but yes, they will have the results that day. No. Do they what? No, because I mean, it's based on like whenever whoever's on the floor that day. You know. I mean, like even these samples that came in, when they test the samples, it literally is based off of the collection number and whoever's on the floor that day. So, like, think about like processing mail, right? Like this comes in, this comes in. Whenever it came in is when it's in the back of the line. First in, first out. Unless there's a stat order. There wasn't a stat order on this. So first in, first out. So they're going bam, 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 bam. And then like if we're distributing, then it's you get this package, this package, this package, this package, this package, this package. And you just keep doing this. And whoever gets it is whoever gets it. Uh, yeah.
Welcome on my show ever. I don't know when it's the next time I'm to this, but I really appreciate you providing some.
Thank you. Actually, we're gonna be there July 20th. G Squad Entertainment, who is Gabe Flores, junior and senior, they're throwing a fight out in Stockton out on the baseball field. Yeah, so Nonito's, as far as I know, we're gonna be out there for that one. We were there for the last one. Nonito was a commentator. So yeah, keep it in your calendar. And then I'll like I said, I'll share I'll text you the 2 videos that Nonito and I did as far as the collection and the chain of custody. I did do a supplement video, but I haven't edited it yet. So I still gotta do that. Um, and then I'll just send it to you because all the stuff we're doing, like, is just here's your information, here's where to find it, and I give you the links in the comment section. So if you want to double check my homework, please do. Like, I can, I'm not perfect, but most of the things that I'm saying is based on experience and paperwork that I have in my email, which is my proprietary information. So you're welcome. He's staying, well, he had to go and get the dog that was barking. And then he's hanging out with the kids because if you saw them, they both came here. If he doesn't stay with them, they're gonna be running around. But also he's pretty still pissy about the whole incident with Henry. So I'm trying to keep him away from speaking. Yeah, like he's picked up his phone and he's like, I should call. He's like, I'm gonna call him. And I'm like, no, you're not. What are you gonna say? What's gonna change this? Like at this point? And he's like, you shouldn't be saying talking to you like that. I was like, I get that, but phone call. And he's like, I'm gonna text him. I'm like, really? And he's like, then we're calling. Huh? I know. Yeah. No, I know. I know. But like, listen. At the end of the day, like, huh? Yeah, I mean, like I said, like he's around, but he's just like like holding his temper because I don't think right now if he goes live, like he'll be able to be very cordial and in control of his emotions. So we're just gonna let him cool off for a bit.
All right.
Yeah, no worries. I'll talk to you guys later. If you guys have any questions, let him know and he'll ask me, or if I can come back
Oh,
to.
wait, Rachel.
What's up? Oh, okay. So my Instagram is Rachel Donaire. My Twitter or X, whatever you call it, is at knockout_queen. And the YouTube channel Nonito and I share is Beyond the Ring with Nonito and Rachel. Yeah, that's it. Sorry guys, don't have an OnlyFans. That's all I got. You're welcome. I'll see you guys. You guys take care. Be good to each other. Till next time. Peace and love. Bye.